Yep. We should examine this area carefully and make hold clues we need. What are a bunch of pulleys doing here? They don't seem to be well pulley for lifting buckets. There's a sturdy-looking hempen rope lying on the ground. Kinda reminds me of the ropes we used for playing tug of war in school. The answer is no, Kay. What? I didn't even say anything yet. I see it also has a metal stake attached to one end. Oh yeah, it looks like something you'd use to pull up a tent. There was no tent, was there? In which case, what was it used for? It's a metal weight of some kind. It looks like weights. The protection makes it a little tricky to read. Do you remember how heavy it was, Kay? £30 weight. What does anyone need such a heavy weight for anyway? It doesn't seem related to the circus show at any rate. Looks like this was designed for raising and lowering a bucket. There's no sign of a bucket though. The well was behind the stage, which means there aren't many people who could have thrown Knight's body down it during the show. It's looking worse and worse for Mr. Saint. So what do you think all the stuff around the well was used for? Can't see any of the animals needing them for their part of the performance. Indeed. Nothing immediately strikes me as likely. A likely purpose. We'll have to ask Miss Berry later. These chairs must have been for the audience. Wow, I pity those who had to put them all away. Really? Why? Why would you care? You've clearly never had to fold up a bunch of boring chairs before, huh? I have, and it's really not that big a deal. Not personally. I've told other people to do it, though. Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. You gotta roll up your sleeves and help out once in a while. I'll consider it. A wicker basket, or rather a cart, given the wheels. Hey, wouldn't it be fun to hop in and race it down the hill? Oh, you know what else would be fun? Racing down a hill on office chairs. Where did any of that come from? What was the name of our trunk happy friend again? The elephants are relevant. Of course, how could I forget? Not exactly inspired, though, is it? Was Miss Berry having an off day when she came up with it? Oh my gosh, Mr. Edgeworth, not in front of the poor elephant herself. I suspect that's about all there is to find for now. Detective Gumshoe should be here soon, too. Okay, can you power down Mr. Thief for now? Sure thing. Prepare to return to normality. Sorry, sir. I came as quickly as I could. Why does Missile look angry? Speak as a devil. Ah, detective. That was indeed impressively quick. You know me, sir. Never did like to keep you waiting. Thanks for coming all this way too, Regina. No problem. It seemed way more fun than rehearsals, so I ditched them for the day. It's very much appreciated. Alright, Detective, let's get started with Missile. Yes, sir. Hey, Missile, over here, boy. What's the matter? Come on, boy. Come on. What's wrong with him? Looks like he's scared of something, sir. Alligator. Guess he's not a fan, sir. Well, I doubt he'll be much help to us like this. Any other bright ideas, Mazzolino? Yes, actually. Miss Berry, would you mind lending us a hand? Oh, I'd love to. Just tell me what you need. You want me to teach Allie some tricks? I don't doubt he could do it, but nothing quite like that. I'd simply like an account of what the yard looked like during the show. I like where this is going. You're thinking of using a little thief again, am I right? If you'd be so kind. Okay, I plugged in all that fire in the simulation. Okay, so she doesn't seem to know about the well. Okay, here you go. This is what the yard looked like during the show. The time at which the body was purported to have been thrown off the well. Oh wow, it looks so amazing. It's like magic. No magic here. Just sweet, sweet data. Which is why... the area behind the stage is missing. Yeah, Regina said she wasn't involved in getting the stage set up. So you don't have any data on what it was like back there. No data, no simulation, huh? Brutal. Brutal indeed. I'm so sorry, you guys, but it's all because I let Simon do everything by himself. Oh no. It's all my frilly associate's fault. Objection, Fender. Anyway, we got a fresh simulation now, but we still have other data too. Just like whenever you need a recreation of taking them down the stage. So we're gonna examine both the scene both during and after the show. And switch between the two at will. Okay. Now then, let's get to your investigation, shall we? Wait. What's all that in the cart? Wait a minute. The cart moved as well. Penna A's as the agent elephant. Now empty, as the lady herself is on stage. Well, the entrance to the yard is people, sir. It's like a gazillion mega pumping through that fence. That's kind of risky, no? Not if one turned off the electricity. Yeah, but then all the prisoners would escape. Through an entrance blocked by an elephant. I think not. Seems to be enjoying the challenge. Leave it to her. Now, look. Why is this here? The basket was empty in the other's recreation. Oh yeah, but it was definitely empty in the photo I took too. Oops, sorry, I made a mistake when I was filling you in earlier. Oh. That basket's for holding Aza's food, but the morning of the show, all the apples in it had vanished. Poof. Really? Where'd all the apples go? I totally forgot to mention it, so sorry. Disappearing apples. Should make a note of this. Just lined up neatly for the show. So we know there were a few empty seats during the performance. Something about this space, the way the seats are arranged. Reminds me of a karaoke contest I entered as a kid. Okay. You entered a karaoke contest. I sure did, and I came in second. Even in the depths of night, when no other bird dares to take flight, one alone soars to shine, the light of righteousness in the world's blight. Tell me you didn't actually sing that. I sure did. She did well to take second place, or perhaps she stole in more apt. Was it more she failed to steal first place? I'm overthinking this. A story of forbidden love between a tiger and an elephant. Wish I could have seen it. Wish I could have seen Simon up there on stage too. Oh, he was wonderful, the way he flew off the stage. Does the pulley system have something to do with it, in a way? Oh yes, that scene. Well, for how long would you say Mr. Saint was off stage for, Miss Berry? Let me see. I guess it was around 15 minutes. Just as Lucavelle said. Isn't it pretty hairy, healthy, and safety-wise having an elephant fling a guy off stage? Not at all. He's just very gentle. I'm not sure that it changes much if she flings him gently or roughly. Too gentle, in fact. When we first rehearsed it, she barely nudged him. By the end, he was flying off the stage, not because of Asa though. Someone had figured out some kind of trick, apparently. Isn't that amazing? A trick? Do you have any idea what kind of trick? Who, me? Oh no, it was Simon's big thing. I wouldn't know where to start. So Simon had some kind of trick up his sleeve. Did Asa just eat them all? I feel like the only way... It feels like the only apples just disappear, right? Yeah. The apples in the basket were likely eaten by Asa. Really? That's strange. I'm sure I put the cart where her trunk couldn't reach them. Are you sure about that? Oh yes, it was so full of apples the night before the show. We must consider the possibility that the cart was moved somewhere within Asa's reach. A large basket full of apples couldn't have been moved by the wind, which likely means somebody moved it for a reason. And I think that someone is the warden. Why is my chat disconnecting again? Twitch, what the heck is wrong with you? So before the show had even started, the cart had been moved and its apples eaten. Yes, it seems the most probable timeline. Let's update the recreation key. Will do. I'll add it into the simulation for the performance then. There, all done. Door appears to be locked. Want me to open it? Can't guarantee anything, but I'll certainly give it a try. No, if we deem it necessary, we'll simply ask for the key. Well, where could have been my chance to shine? You're free to shine somewhere else, but you'll not make an audience out of me. I feel like the moment had to have done with this, right? The trick Mr. Zane performed for his big scene could have something to do with all the items we found by the well. Okay, I'd like to have another look at the equipment around the well from yesterday. Can you have Mr. C bring up the recreation from when they were tearing down the stage? You got it. Take another look at these items. Could they not have been used for the trick of Mr. Saint's? Sounds plausible enough. Hey, I could maybe add it to the simulation. Good idea. Please go and ask Mr. Saint for the details. Roger that. I'll be right back. I'm back, and he told me exactly how he did it. Excellent. Well, how does it work? He said he used to pull it from the top of the well to suspend a heavy weight from the rope. And lowered that down to the well. The other end of the rope went through 2 more pulleys. It was tied around his body. I see. So he used a downward pull of the weight to help him launch himself into the air. So whoever the killer is likely swapped the weight for the body. At least that seems to be the most likely situation. But how do you make sure the weight only dropped when he wanted to? He used a stake to stop it, that's how. Miss Berry didn't seem to know anything about this trick, or the contraption he built for it. In which case, I suppose it must have been Mr. Saint himself who pulled up the stake. That's right. And to do that, he used a second length of rope. He tied it to the stake, and when he gave it a sharp tug, stake was released, and a weight dropped down the well. It's a great trick I have to steal. This one has to go into Great Thief's repertoire. It may not be quite that easy. These kind of circus tricks can require years of practice to master. Simply stealing the idea won't be enough. Alright, practice it is then. Well, before you run away to do so, would you mind updating your simulation? Oh, right. Then we can see how it all worked for ourselves. Okay, I'm switching back to the recreations of performance. Now add it to the deck. Well, the shape should be able to reproduce the trick now. The weight's still there. Unless it... Well, the tarps are still there too. So this was how Mr. Saint performed his trick. Simon's full of surprises, huh? I mean, dropping a weight down a well to help him fly off the stage like that, that's genius. Indeed, but I imagine he would have needed quite a lot of weight, more than him, at the very least. It would have taken some serious pull to lift him into the air like that. Yeah, and probably a ton of practice. Pulling a rope suppose the two lieutenant. Yeah. Mr. Saint used the well to construct a contraption that would send him flying from the stage. Made very clever use of the two ropes. Yeah. It's taut. It's just like the one we saw in the workshop. It's taut. It's just like the one we saw in the workshop. Yes. But why is it here? Why is it here? Okay, stop reading my mind, please. Are you okay, Mr. Edwards? You've gone kind of blank. And I intend to stay blank until you stop stealing my thoughts. Wait, doesn't this seem odd to you? No. You haven't noticed, Detective. There's something strange about the weight we found. There's only one. The problem is the number of weights. That is to say, the one weight we saw on its own wouldn't be heavy enough. A single 30-pound weight couldn't have lifted up Mr. Saint's off the ground. Oh yeah! In which case, could there perhaps have been some weights missing? Sounds like a job for one of my 7 secret weapons, sir. Should the need to use them arise, I suppose we should speak with him then. No say what, sir. I know just what you're looking for. It's written all over your face. Is it? This may be temporarily out of action, but my fishing rod is good to go whenever you need it. Oh, and if you want to give the metal detector a shot, I have that too. Never seen him so excited. Be sure to let you know if I need either of them, Detective. Pond is home to Warren Lagarde's beloved alligator. Those bones must be from her latest. Look, those bones must be made. And look, those bones must be from her latest meal. I someone doubt an alligator could pick a carcass clean like that. You think? I get the feeling she's rather ladylike in her own way, actually. If you say so. Well, I do. I can have a sixth sense for these things. An interesting talent, though not one I'm particularly envious of. Detective, I'm in need of one of your secret weapons. Roger that. The metal detector, if you would be so kind. Ah, geez, I'm never gonna get to use my fishing rod. Before we get started, let me run you through how the metal detector works, sir. Simple enough. Just use the sound. In this gauge, tell you how close you are to something made of metal. Closer you get, more strongly it'll react. If it starts going off wild like this, just give me the order to examine the spot, and I'm sitting. Then what we got here? Oh, the fence. Anyway, that's how it all works. Tell me what you want me to look, sir, and I'll get it right on. Oh, we're controlling Gumshoe now. Whee! I found something. There's something here, sir. I don't see anything metallic. What did the detector pick up? Guess we haven't picked up some iron sand. Iron sand. As in sand you can pick up with a magnet. That's the stuff. You can find it at the beach sometime. And I got just the thing we need. Introducing secret weapon number 6 or 7. Are you making this up as you go along? Seemingly ordinary magnet I found at the hardware store. What did you bring it close to the ground and ta-da! It's picking out all the iron. It must be nice to be so easily entertained. Regardless, the investigation must continue. Okay, so that wasn't what I wanted. We're close, sir. There's something metallic nearby. Okay, so I was close, it's just like not in the race. Picking up something over here. Let's take a little look-see. Huh? Found these little guys in the grass. They're the same as the weight we found by the well. They must be from Mr. Saint's trick. Someone hide them. Someone hide them here on purpose. Come forward all together, sir. That'd be more than heavy enough to send him flying. So someone hid several of the same weights as the one hid by the well. But why? And why over here? Because no one would approach the alligator but the warden herself. Yes, nice work, me. Yeah. Alligator. That thing nearly gave me a heart attack. Huh? What's the matter, detective? Metal detector, sir. It's reacting to the alligator. What? How? You sure it's not responding to the weights you just found? No, sir. I'm sure this is something different. I'm sure it's coming from the alligator. And she's gone. We scared that big snapper good. I don't think that's it, Kay. Huh? Then what is it? Allie hasn't been herself lately. That's the name. Allie, the warden's favorite pet. She wouldn't even look at the food Warden Lagarde brought her yesterday. She's acting as if, I don't know, maybe as if she had eaten something that didn't agree with her. Is there another way that she ate? Middle Matter Detector was responding to whatever she ate, sir. Oh no, what if she ate one of the weights? I highly doubt that even an alligator could swallow a 30-pound lump of iron. So what did the metal detector actually pick up? And why would someone hide those weights? Perhaps I missed something when looking at the equipment by the well. Okay, could you recreate the scene again? Coming right up. Are you serious, game? I just picked the wrong item. Should work for any of them. Think about the two recreations. The one during the performance and the one we're looking at right now. There's a major difference between the two. Namely, that one of the ropes is missing. Oh yeah. Mr. Saint's trick wouldn't work was the only items we have seen before us. So what happened? Where did the missing rope go? I think one of the pieces of evidence we've collected might tell us exactly that. Really? What shows us where the missing rope went?
Take that!
This rope was found beside Mr. Knight's body. Wait, you mean? Yes, it must have been the other rope used in Mr. Saint's trick. So you're saying? Yes, this rope didn't indeed have a weight attached to it. But it wasn't any of the iron weights we found. Those were hidden in the bushes and replaced with something else. What was it, Mr. Edwards? Come on, I'm dying here. Think about what the rope we found in the workshop was related to. Use that and you'll soon figure out the answer. Weight drop down in the well and place it. Wait, it was?
Take that!
The body. What I was trying to say earlier. The game's like, no, not yet. It can only have been Knight's body that was dropped down the well. What? Mr. Knight's body was the weight? Yes. Somebody first swapped out the weights used for Mr. Saint's trick. Then Mr. Saint used a contraption to make his exit from the stage. When he let the rope around his body loose. Both the rope and Knight's body fell to the bottom of the well. That rope was never used to restrain Knight. It was used to suspend his body halfway down the well. From this, we can easily see why most of the weights were hidden. So that no one would realize they'd been replaced with the body. Precisely. We can then further deduce that they were hidden by the killer. Whoa there, gang. Want an old Bronco stabbed in the neck? Wouldn't there be blood everywhere, including down the well? Or the killer thought of that, which is why they used this. What did the killer use to stop the Knight's blood from going everywhere?
Take that!
Tarp. This tarp was found with the body. I think it is likely that Knight's corpse was wrapped in it. Oh, another piece of the puzzle falls into place. It all come together now. Love it. But all we're doing is proving that the body did go down the well. Which means we're helping prove that Simon was the killer. No, not exactly. That would you're making the implication that Simon was the only one that could have opened up the well. There are other people. No, not quite. But what about what Judge Gavelle said yesterday? But if it was Mr. Saint truly is the killer, why would he need to go to such lengths to commit his crime? That's true. Knight's body fell down the well when Mr. Saint used his contraption during the show. Therefore, it reveals nothing about where the real killer actually was, or what they were doing at the time. It's only designed to throw suspicion onto those who were not at the show. Yeah, I guess we did suspect Mr. Canis right away, huh? That was the killer's goal, to make us think that the crime took place during the show. In other words, they used the well contraption to construct an alibi. Miss Berry, when exactly did Mr. Saint put his contraption together? It had to have been the day before the show. The night before, actually. Yes, we started getting ready for the show around 9 p.m. And I think we finished around midnight. In which case, the killer must have switched the weights out for the body after that point. Do we have the video still? We do not. Oh wait, no, we have. But this is when. Yeah, so 9 a.m. The footage was actually at 9 a.m. It showed at noon, I think, right? Or was it at 6 a.m.? It would have been 6 a.m. I forget which way it was. Connors know about this contraption. Even if he did, he wouldn't have been able to do much with it. And I highly doubt that he taught his dog to suspend a body halfway down a well. Which means Connors isn't the killer. It's the warden! It's the freaking warden! Can we connect these two? The basket was moved the night before the circus performance. We've deduced that the weights were switched out for the body around that same time. Hard to chalk up to coincidence, huh? The next question we should be asking is, why was the cart moved? I think I can hazard to guess the cart would have been blocking that door. Which can only mean that somebody needed to open it. Now, let's see what... Oh, great. It's locked. Let me ask the guard for help. Hey, Mr. Guard. Yes, miss, what can I do for you? That was fast. Guard, where's the key for this door? Oh, the warden keeps hold of that. I'll go ask her for it. Warden Lagarde is the only one with the key. Looking hecka sus. Meaning, if somebody did open that door, they would have had to get it from her somehow. Thanks for the help. Look at all these breakers. They must control the electricity for the whole prison. So we're thinking somebody got in here the night before the show, right? But why? What were they trying to do? Well, I doubt they came in here by mistake, thinking it was a break room. They must have come in to tamper with the switches. Did they turn off the power to something? Come to think of it, wasn't there something that lost power? Something that lost power had... Something might have lost power when the breaker tripped.
Take that!
Cameras. There was a 3-hour gap in the security camera footage. Oh yeah, there was. Somebody flipped the breaker it was connected to. It seems very likely. Do you think it was a killer? It's true that shutting off the cameras would have made things easier for them. It would? Which means the killer would have had to be someone who had access to all the breakers. And it seems only one person has the key. Couldn't be. Could it? Alright, little thief, your work here is done. We have our killer. It's Lagarde. As I was saying for a while, she was sus. First on the scene, the early bird wins the worm. Good morning, Mr. Winner. What? How'd you get here before me? Good morning, Mr. Edgeworth. I see you made an early start. I see you've made a late one, Judge Cavell. This is not my only case. I'm a very busy woman. Not all of us enjoy the freedom of a prosecutor relieved of his own current responsibility. Oh, I do apologize. I meant, of course, an associate attorney. Associate? More like asinine. We'll see about that. Eustace, let us begin the investigation of the yard. Okay, I'll get some officers to help.
Hold it!
No need. I've already done everything. That won't be necessary. Why not? We've already finished investigating the yard and won quite the prize in the process. Won? But I'm supposed to be the winner. Your Honor. I'd like to revisit your theory from yesterday in order to thoroughly disprove it. I would caution you to choose your words carefully, Mr. Edgeworth. As I am sure you remember, your badge is in my hands. How could I forget? You told me several dozen times already. Perhaps you'd care to try a different threat.
Overruled.
You have been warned repeatedly, yes, and each time my words seem to have fallen on deaf ears. Allow me to make this crystal clear. The committee cannot and will not tolerate insubordination.
Objection!
The fate of my badge and the whims of the committee are of no concern to me now. The only thing that concerns me is proving Simon Saint's innocence. Interesting. And spoken like a true defense attorney. In that case, I shall be equally uncompromising. In the name of the goddess of justice, I will strike your case down without mercy. And when I'm done, your career as a prosecutor will be over as well. I hope you do not come to regret this. My theory remains the same as when I related to you yesterday. Mr. Casarado did not see Mr. Knight's body when he passed through the tunnel. As such, the body could only have been dropped down the well during the show. We both know that the only one who could have dropped the body down there during the show is Mr. Saint. That's still your assertion. And can you prove it, of course? Of course you can. Who do you think you're up against? What Eustace means to say is that we received the final autopsy report just ahead of our arrival. She's really a very busy woman, but looking after baby Winner. The victim appears to have died in the night before the body was discovered. In other words, the night before the show. The cause of death is stated. It seems the wound is 4 inches deep. Estimated time of death is between 3 and 6 a.m. on the 27th. Instant death from a stab wound to the neck. Simon Saint was off stage for a period of 15 minutes. That's plenty of time for him to throw the victim's body down the well. Judge Well hasn't investigated the yard yet, which means... I fear there may be something of a flaw with your theory, Your Honor. You seem very confident of that. But do you have any evidence to prove it? Yes, I think I'm just might. So I believe it's probably going to want Simon's trick. I don't know who could...
Objection!
Sorry, Your Honor, but there's something else you're going to have to take into account. The well in the yard is rigged up with a certain unique contraption. A contraption? Go on. You'll recall that Mr. Saint was sent flying from the stage by the elephant. I do, just before he was to be absent for some time. He was only able to fly through the air thanks to a weighted rope he tied around himself. Dropping the weighted end down the well allowed him to complete the trick.
Objection!
Wait, wouldn't that send him flying as soon as he set foot out on the stage?
Hold it!
It's simple, really. He kept the weight from falling by using a stake to keep the rope in place. With the second rope, he was able to pull the stake free, thereby controlling when the weight was dropped. We found evidence that suggests the original weight was replaced with Knight's body. This was done by the real killer, in order to create an alibi. The estimated time of death tells us that the murder took place early in the morning. The killer could have tampered with the contraption in the time between the murder and the show.
Objection!
You're saying that Mr. Saint himself set up the contraption up, right? Well then, who do you think that is the number one most likely person to have used the body used to dispose of the body? Everyone must see how this looks.
Objection!
If Mr. Saint was the killer, he could have simply done as Judge Bell theorized, without the extra steps. Miss Berry. Yes? Does anyone else know how Mr. Saint's trick works? Well, let's see. We had to get the prison's approval on what we were going to perform. So I don't think Simon's the only one who knows. And there you have it.
Overruled.
Interesting. You have certainly been diligent in your investigation. And yet I fail to comprehend your actions still. Why do you not work to do what is right? Is what I am doing wrong? If so, who is it that deems it so? How can you not grasp even that? How can you not see that what you are doing wrong at the very moment? You are a prosecutor, and yet you aid the defense. This flies in the face of common sense. You are breaking every rule in the book. You kicked me out. I'm not the prosecutor on this case, so I can do whatever heck I want. I'm not the prosecutor of this case. I think only of what is right and just, and act as I see fit in each situation I'm confronted with. This is the path I have chosen, and whether you can comprehend that choice is immaterial. But if you mean to stand in my way, I will fight back with all I can bring to bear. Perhaps the goddess of justice is testing me. Very well. If it is her will that we must fight, then I shall end this once and for all. Listen well, Mr. Edgeworth, for there is another reason why only Mr. Saint can be the killer. Yeah, okay, so we're going to be probably using the electric panel here against her. The power went out at a point, and the only person that could have gotten in there was LeBlanc. Or, not LeBlanc. Whatever her name was. The god. If the body was moved from the yard to the workshop, then Mr. Knight must have first been brought here to the yard from his cell. The only person who had the opportunity to do that is Simon Saint. And thus, he remains the only plausible suspect. Mr. Saint took a cage with him to Mr. Knight's cell. But why would he do that? Why take such an unwieldy object all the way to the holding cells? Yeah, it's pretty sus. But we've all met Mr. Saint. That's exactly the kind of thing he would do. It's entirely possible that he took the cage with him out of absent-mindedness and nothing else. It may be plausible, but if no more or less plausible than him having helped Mr. Knight to escape. I need some real solid evidence I'm going to get her to budge. I'm gonna press this first. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be something related to this statement. You're certain nobody else had the opportunity. Need I remind you that we are in a prison? The entire facility is monitored at all times. Anything out of the ordinary would have been spotted.
Hold it!
But Mr. Saint was under the same scrutiny that was he not?
Overruled.
The warden had granted the members of the circus troop special access. As a member of that troop, under the supervision of Miss Berry, he's the only person who is free to wander where he will.
Objection!
It seems you've forgotten something, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Forget is not a word in my vocabulary, Mr. Edgeworth. It is. You just used the word. Very well. Recall this fact if you will. You claim that Mr. Saint is the only person who is free to walk around the prison. But there was a brief period of time on that day of the crime in the prison. A time where it would have been possible for anyone to move through the prison entirely unmonitored. What do I have to show that there was a period of time that was... Yeah, so it wants the video.
Take that!
Mr. Saint is far from the only one who had the opportunity. Which opportunity are we talking about again? We'd previously established that the time code on the security foot was off by 3 hours. And from this we can deduce that there must have been a power outage lasting for that length of time, during which anyone could have moved around the prison undetected. Do you mean to say that our killer intentionally created this 3-hour gap? There was no simple camera malfunction. Is that even possible? It was completely possible to create a 3-hour gap using this. This is going to be this. Our investigation of the yard turned up something rather interesting. A panel of breakers, one of which can be used to cut the power to the security cameras. We also learned that the door to the power room may have been opened at around the time of the murder. What? Such a shame. To see one so capable fall so short of the mark. Mr. Edwards knows what he's doing. Then how do you explain the lock on the power room door? Oh yeah, it was kinda locked up tight. And Warren is the only one with the key. Those breakers are vital to prison's infrastructure. So I'm very doubt that anyone could have gained access to such a power room's key so easily. That's the thing. No one needed to gain access to the key, because the person that did it had the key the whole time. No, but one person could have. I beg your pardon. That person, the killer, had easy access to it, in fact. And what's more, the position here is such that no one would dare question it.
Objection!
What? There's no one like that. The breaker to the electric fence is in there. It would be questioned in an instant. There's only one person who meets the criteria. And I hardly believe it myself, but I have to follow where the logic leads. The person who had access to the power room key was...
Take that!
The real culprit is... Warden Lagarde. Oh, just look at you. Aren't you the cutest little poochie woochie? He's not just a pretty face. Mr. also has quite the nose for sweet things. Seems he's smelling something very sweet indeed, and is coming from you. Oh, darling, you're making me blush. I'm not even wearing perfume. Then perhaps it is the sweet stench of death. You're a regular poet, aren't you? I had no idea. But if I didn't know better, I'd almost think you were calling moi the killer. That is precisely what I'm calling you. What? Warden Lagarde is the killer. Mr. Edwards, do you realize what you're saying? Ho, such a naughty boy. How could he suspect me? I'm the one in charge around here. It's like we're in a murder mystery, aren't we? And equally as far-fetched. This is preposterous.
Hold it!
Sadly, it's not. Although I can hardly believe it myself. But this is where the evidence points, and I must trust in the evidence. This piece of evidence proves that Warden Lagarde is the killer. Could it have to be just a sweet scent?
Take that!
Your scent betrays you, Warden. Because Edwards did mention it moments ago. He's like, the smell on the body is causing Missile to react. The body is causing Missile to react to her. Your scent betrays you, Warden. And here is your accuser. The police dog. We had him track a sweet scent that was lingering around Knight's body back when it was first found. And it now appears to be smelling the same scent, and it's coming from you. Oh, darling, you're priceless. Really, you are. Your evidence is a whiff of suspicion. Verity, dear, do not put him in his place. Uh-oh, Gavel's realizing, she's like, uh-oh. Seems like Gavel may have reached a similar conclusion to myself. You believe this to be no mere coincidence, Mr. Edgeworth? I do. After all, she had the key, and the scent found lingering on the body is in hers as well. Were just one or the other, we might have been able to brush it off as a coincidence. However, indeed, then it seems the conclusion approaches. Perhaps we should hear what the warden has to say for herself. We should, and when we have, this case will finally be at an end. You're all being simply awful. Stop looking at me like that. Me's a killer. How could I possibly do such a thing? Verity told me everything, and she knows about the case, sweetie. The victim died in his cell, so by your logic, I would have had to kill him there. But how am I supposed to have moved the body, especially as I never went to the prison? I was too busy with work, you see. I was cooped up in my office until right before the show began. Check if you like, you won't find any record of anywhere of my having entered or left the prison proper. I haven't the first idea of what harebrained theories you little scamps have cooked up, but I'm innocent. There's simply no way I could be the killer. Give me a break, Missile doesn't lie. Don't make it hard on everyone, just come clean. Oh dear, I'm afraid you are the one making things difficult. As I just said, I never went to the prison. If you think I'm lying, go and check the records. She clearly wants us to check those records, which means they won't help us. We'll just have to find another way of getting the truth out of her. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, stop being a big silly. You have made a boo-boo, you know it.
Hold it!
Do you have any evidence you didn't enter the prison? Please, darling, let me finish.
Hold it!
So you were in your office the whole time, and you didn't notice anything unusual? No, I can't say that I did. And you didn't notice anything missing? I must confess, I'm a rather messy girl. I'm a forgetful one. That, and I put something down, and it's lost forever. It's a curse, darling, a curse. I lost some important evidence recently. It was gone, poof, just like that. What? And she still has a job. Honestly, if somebody came into my office and took something, it might be years before I noticed. Seems like I'll need more than the power room key to expose her. On the day of the murder, I was working in my office. Oh, and I was looking for something I'd misplaced. Even if I had a reason to go to the prison, I simply wouldn't have had the time.
Hold it!
Sure, maybe you didn't go through the main entrance to the prison. But what if you took another route? Oh, come on now, sweetie. Surely you don't mean that awful, filthy tunnel they discovered. Why, until yesterday I had no idea it even existed. No, you had another way in, I'm certain of it. A route that didn't require going through the main entrance or the tunnel. Would have to be here then.
Take that!
Through the fence. Warden, if you took Knight from his cell and brought him to your office, which just happens to be connected to the yard, you had a way through the fence, then you would have been able to circumvent both the entrance to and the tunnel. A gold star for creativity, darling. And how would I have gotten through the fence? It's an extremely high fence, topped with a razor wire, with thousands of volts of electricity going through it. Yeah, how was she supposed to have gotten through that, The fence's electricity supply can be cut off from the power room. And only you have the key, Warden. No one but you could have done it.
Overruled.
Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. The power room is on the prison side of the yard. When Lagarde was on the detention center side, how could she have even reached the power room? Exactly. Verity, darling. What a clever puss. You've dug yourself a real hole now. If there is no record of Warren Lagarde having entered the prison proper, then the idea that she could have shut off the power to the fence by using the breaker is out of the question. But there must have been some way she could have done it. Take a deep breath, big guy. Don't lose your cool. You've lost everything. But if I don't find a solution, she might wiggle out of this. Hey, I said take a deep breath. Not freak out and completely lose your cool. There's nothing to be gained from banging your head against the walls, yeah? No matter how you look at it, Warren Lagarde couldn't have done it alone.
Objection!
Mr. Edwards, if you cannot find that... You aren't doing yourself any favors by obstructing justice with your silence. That was a reflexive objection. But now that I've yelled it, if I don't come up with an answer, it's all over. I have one more thing to add, if you'll permit me. Something that explains how the warden could have shut off the breaker from the wrong side of the fence. Yes, because it's not as impossible as it seems. What enabled her to shut off the breaker? An accomplice. She could have given the key to someone on the prison side. She couldn't have done it alone. But what if she wasn't alone? Ah, now we're talking. Way to flex the old gray matter, kiddo. I believe Warden Lagarde had an accomplice.
Overruled.
Enough. You disappoint me, Mr. Edgeworth. Enough. You disappoint me, Mr. Edgeworth. What do you mean? Mr. Edgeworth said nothing wrong. The inmates of this prison are all issued with security bracelets. Ones that makes an alarm if people go anywhere they're not supposed to. Sawat's bracelet wasn't working at the time of the incident. Could not be detected by the sensors. I see that you have realized your error, and we are, of course, within the prison grounds. Where not only is the bracelets worn, but even the guards surveil each other for signs of wrongdoing. And despite all that, no one noticed Mr. Carcerado's escape. The only ones who are free to roam are the animals. And it most certainly could not have operated the breaker. No. So our accomplice must be a human.
Overruled.
Then who did it? Given that it cannot have been a prisoner or guard.
Objection!
I wouldn't be so quick to rule out either, Your Honor. The fact is, there is one person, someone whose movements weren't restricted. I have just the evidence to show you of the free roaming person was.
Take that!
This is one of the prisoner's bracelets. Indeed, a broken bracelet belonging to a self-proclaimed model prisoner. What do you mean? And who is this prisoner? Frank Solid, one of the guard's favorite inmates. It's strange, isn't it, Warden, that he was able to keep his broken bracelet hidden and wander freely around the prison all the while. That's pretty funky, and I don't mean that in a good way. It could be the case that he was permitted some sort of special leeway, could it? Although, you are in a habit of giving such leeway to certain others. Body Hitakarmas, for example. Mr. Edgeworth, that is pure speculation.
Objection!
In that case, why don't we ask Mr. Sawat himself? I'm confident that he will confirm for us that he and Warden Lagarde were accomplices in this crime. If the two of them had worked together, a certain route into the prison became vital. The real route by which Knight was moved from his cell to the prison proper. Recall that there were two big obstacles in her path. First, the security camera outside of Knight's cell. Second, the electrified fence in the yard. But she was able to remove both obstacles in one fell swoop by having Sawat shut off the corresponding breakers. Alright, Mr. Edgeworth, you've had your fun. And do you still deny it to Warden Lagarde? No, darling, you've got me. I admit it. You're just admitting it like that? Warden, tell me this isn't true. Sorry, Verity. Honey, I'm afraid it is. Frankly helped me do it. No way! You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. You got her! Nice shooting, cowboy. You won't be wriggling her way out of this now. As Mr. Edgeworth said, I had Frankie switch off the breaker. But we didn't kill Knight, did we? No, my sweetums. No, we didn't. What? Warden, explain yourself. What's gonna be her excuse this time? Oh, Verity, dear. I doubt your precious goddess will want to hear my excuses now. She is all merciful. You have to confess and you shall be saved. I gosh, alright. I was being threatened. I had no choice but to do as he said. Who's he? But hid Haramakamas, that awful assassin. Cornus. How long has it been since that awful man came here to my beautiful prison? I'll never forget the day he arrived.